everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom. How's it going?
Well, Tony, we always have this moment where the old season ends and it's like, when does the new season truly begin? Does it truly begin when you get through the NFL draft declarations and the new guys are there and they've started the winter workouts? Is that the beginning of the new season, or is it the start of spring ball, or is it the start of fall camp? When do we officially turn the page? When does it officially really feel like the next season has started? And Tony, I think I have come to the conclusion that it is this show. It's not truly the 2023 football season, Tony, until you and I do one of our most inexplicably popular and definitely stupidest shows. Tony, it's time to do bold predictions.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. You started to bring this up just now as I was listening to you talk, and it's like, yeah, you're right. It is us. We are the declination of the new season, and what better way to do it than with a bold prediction show about a spring game, which I had before the show. I'm like, have we ever done this before? And you're like, oh, we've had to. And yes, we have. And we did it last year. I didn't look to see if we've done it in the past. I'm almost certain we have. Probably every year since, 2018, I'm guessing. Man, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows when we started doing bold predictions?
Don't think we did one for the 2020 spring game. If we did, I'm sure I won, but don't think we did one that year.
But the thing with the spring game bold predictions is you can pick somebody, and then you just better hope they play. And that's about the gist of it. So I don't remember who won last year, and it's a new year. So, Tom, I will allow you to go first, because I know one of yours is, I've waited, one of yours is going to be like my fifth one-pointer that I've just put down there, just in case you don't take it. So,
okay. All right.
And it's not 220, but...
Yeah, there's. I'm not going 220. We save that one for when I can get it wrong during the regular season. This, I don't think anyone. I can't imagine anyone. I only went back 4 years, and I don't think anyone has run for 220 yards in a spring game as a team. So I'm going to guess that won't happen again this year. But my first one is, as I said, I went back the last 4 years of spring game box scores just to see. Hey, so that's 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2022. Just to sort of have a baseline of like what's a reasonable expectation and what might be unusual this year. So, Tony, there has only been one season in which the spring game in which there were more than 6 total sacks during the course of the game. And if it's split into 2, it's both teams added together, and sometimes it's just offense versus defense. So this is going to be just offense versus defense. So I'm just going to give you like total numbers for the game. Tony, I think there are at least 7 sacks, which would be that has only happened once in the last 4 spring games.
You know what we need to do? We need to figure out what percentage constitutes bold. Because right now you're saying 25%. Like 25% is, and shouldn't it be? Shouldn't that be considered bold? But when it's like, well, it's happened once in the last 4 years. Now, I only went back the last 3 years of box scores because I only went to while Ryan Day was head coach. Plus, I can only have so many tabs open. I this is how you know it's a good one, because I hate it. With the 2-hand touch rule, you've got your most mobile quarterback is out, and the offensive line we know is a terrible, terrible concern. So I have no choice but to allow this 1 point for at least 7 sacks. From the defense.
At least 7, yes. If the offense records a sack, it does not count.
Okay.
Unless, Tony, it's from the 17 or 34-yard line, in which case, it counts triple.
What? Okay.
I can hear people at home going, I wonder if the show's going to be as stupid as it was. Okay, good, yes, got it, yes, good.
Well, while I've got you here then, Tom, let's stick with the 17 to 34, and I will say there is at least one gain of at least 17 yards from inside the 34-yard line.
So inside the plus 34-yard line, there's a gain of at least 17 yards.
Or a loss of 17 from the minus 34.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's somehow you just added more possibilities, and it somehow feels less likely once you say that out loud. We have lost all logic and reason, and we're still on the first one. So welcome back to Bold Predictions, everyone. Yeah, that feels random enough. I spent a lot of time going through box scores and trying to, okay, here's something that has only happened once or not at all or whatever. And this is one of these where it's like, yeah, I went through a lot of boxes. I did not think to look for gains of 17 or more, exactly 17 yards from inside the 34-yard line. So I guess I'm going to have to allow it because, as we know, 17 and 34 are canon on this show, and this is, this feels like something I probably have to allow.
And we're starting off, as we always do, where you're doing all of the research, and I just go by feel. Like, you are like prog rock, I'm jazz.
You are turning off your targeting computer and you just use the force while we do these shows, and
do or do not. There is no try.
There is definitely no try on this show. No question about that. All right, Tony, do you know how many times an individual player has had more than 2 sacks in the last 4 years in a spring game?
JT Tuimoloau has done it. Noah Potter has done it. Jack Sawyer has done it.
More than 2 sacks. JT Tuimoloau and Noah Potter both had 2. Exactly. So just Jack Sawyer. Only time in the last 4 years. Tony, I'm going to say the leading sacker in this game has more than 2 sacks.
Well, here's the thing. And it's, again, we're at that 25%, marker that I think we've established. It feels low, but what are we talking about? We're talking about history here, a grand scale of history of 4 years, and it's happened only once. And if we've already established the 25% marker, another one I don't like, because it's similar to one that I have, but now I feel like I need to dial mine back a little. So leading sacker, 2.5 sacks. I mean, Tom, I don't like this one because the defensive line is thin, and so those guys are going to be playing. It seems like they might be playing a lot, and again, I feel like you're loading up. You're picking on the offensive line. You're picking on these left and right, these right tackles specifically, and I feel like you're bullying them, Tom. These are just teenagers. Like, who do you think you are?
Someone who watched spring football this year.
Oh, you're just doubling down. Leading sacker, at least 2.5, at least 2.5 tackles, 2.5 sacks. I don't like that one. If I were to come to you with that one, you'd be like, I need at least 3 names.
Do you want
I'm
3
not
names?
going to ask. No, well, you can go ahead and throw 3 names. I'll allow it, but I just give me 3 names, and maybe if you get it wrong, I can still at least make fun of you. But we'll allow.
I'm going to say JT Tuimoloau, Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson.
All right. Then my next bold prediction, which is actually my first bold prediction, and again, I said I feel like I should dial it down. I won't unless you want me to. Kenyatta Jackson, at least 2 sacks.
So, yeah, and I have a combination of Kenyatta Jackson. I'm kind of parlaying 2 guys later, and one of them is Carter.
Leave the fucking right tackles alone.
Well, I mean, I don't know that the defensive ends are, so I'm not sure I really need to. We'll get to this. I do have non-sack related ones, by the way. I happen to have a couple of them mentioned up front.
Yeah, is that the friendly that you're going to throw my way?
If you no, this is an individual player to record 2 sacks. I have to allow that. That's, that is, I think that's totally reasonable because, as you mentioned, guys have done that every year, but you're picking one guy to do it. It's like picking one guy to have an interception in a game, or one guy to have, hit some arbitrary number of tackles. You kind of have to allow that just because. I think odds are someone's going to do it, but to pick one guy, yeah, absolutely.
And you have what? Go ahead and do whatever you need to do.
Okay, so I sat down and wrote down the average number of yards per play from each team over the last 4 years, which actually encompasses 6 teams, and was trying to decide if I wanted to go over under. And there's it's such an interesting array of numbers, and I didn't really end up with anything on it, but I'm just going to share it here because it's just kind of interesting. 4.9, I'm just going to read them in ascending order. 4.9, 4.9, 5.1, 5.9, 8.1, 8.7. So I was hoping there would be, one real outlier, one direction or another, and it just kind of feels like, yes, this year's yards per play is going to fall somewhere within that range. So I looked at that and thought, okay, well, no, that doesn't really stand out. Tony, do you know how many interceptions there have been in the last 4 spring games total?
In the last 3, I believe there have been just 2. So I don't know if there was one in 2018.
There was. I have 1, 3, 1, and 1 in the last 4 spring games. So a total of 6 interceptions in the last 4 spring games, but 3 years, only 1 interception. I'm going to say there are at least 2 interceptions on Saturday.
Because in 2019 was the big one. There were 3. So 2022, I think there's just been, as you say, there's been 2 the last 2 years. Is that right?
Yes, there's been 1, 3, 1, and 1. So 2 in the last 2 years. And really 2 in the last 3 years if you count the 2020 season. So
does that work with Ryan Day's record against Michigan, Tom?
Hasn't beaten him since 2019, Tony. So I'm gonna say at least 2. Unlike the last 2 years in which Ohio State has only thrown 1 interception per game in the spring game and lost to Michigan both times, I'm going to say they throw 2 interceptions this spring during the spring game at least. And you know what that means, Tony? What happened the last time they threw more than 2 interceptions in the spring game? More than 1 interception in the spring game?
They played for they went to the playoffs.
They beat Michigan and they went to the playoffs. So unless I think I know Ohio State fans are rooting for me to be correct on this one, so I think you should allow this one. What I'm saying.
There needs to be some sort of a caveat here that only one of them can be thrown by a walk-on, because you've got two scholarship quarterbacks playing, 2 walk-ons are going to play.
Yeah, I think that is a perfectly acceptable caveat there. Yep. I was certain you were going to put something on there on yard lines, or one of them must be caught in the person's helmet, or no.
And this by the defense interceptions.
Yes, by the defense interceptions. Yes.
And only one allowed, only one from a walk-on. And if a walk-on intercepts, that also does not count.
I'll tell you, only 1 interception thrown by a walk-on or caught by a walk-on. I will allow that too. There you go.
Which is great because we have seen walk-ons intercept passes as well. But okay, all right. Let's see, where am I? Okay, I'm going with my here's my second one, which is actually still my third one now. And this is something that only a couple of guys have done, I believe, in the last 3 guys have done out of how many? Caleb Brown, at least 5 catches.
That sounds extremely reasonable, and now I'm going to go back and look and see how many guys have done it. Let's see. Last year, G. Scott did it. Yeah, last year, G. Scott did it. The year before that, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Travion Henderson, Emeka Ibuka, Marvin Harrison. Wow, Tony, 2 years ago, only 4 guys did it. That's impressive.
Well, let me finish. I actually did honestly mean to say 6 because I went through those as well.
Okay.
And I think there has been like Jalen Gill and Marvin and Emeka in the same year.
And I'm going to allow this at the higher number. But Tony, one thing that you missed going back to the 2018 spring game, do you know what DeMario McCall's receiving stats were in that game?
Yeah, like 11 catches or something?
He had 11 catches for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is, I think everyone still talks about Bam Childress. I think DeMario McCall needs to really get his, if they ever have a spring game version of Buckeye Grove, he's getting a tree.
But everybody like put some respect on DeMario's name, but everybody says the Bam Childress disrespectfully. So it's like, put some disrespect on DeMario McCall's name, I guess. So yes, Caleb Brown, at least 6 catches. And if you look through all of those box scores, like whoever's in the slot usually does pretty well. Not to make my bold prediction look less bold, because it's incredibly bold, but you've already taken your finger off the checker, so there's nothing that you can do. So you've got, so what is your fourth 1-pointer?
My fourth one is, only one player in the last 4 years has had more than 107 yards receiving in a spring game. Okay? I'm going to give you 2 names of guys, and one of them is going to do that this weekend. Okay? 2 names. One of those names is Jaden Ballard. One of those names is Carnell Tate.
All right. This is a good one. At least 107 yards receiving by Ballard or Tate. Is that your only Carnell Tate bold prediction?
That's the only one I have here right now. I have a bunch of stuff here that I feel like we're going to have to adjust the sliders a little bit to make some of these 2 or 3 pointers. I have 3 more, and it's just kind of like I can shift numbers to make them fit under whatever umbrella we need them to.
Yeah, I need them higher. Let's see. Yeah, I did not go with any Jaden Ballard, because I actually thought that was going to be one of my first ones. Like, Jaden Ballard for 40 yards or something like that. I stayed away from it because I like some other stuff that I have. But I will allow that. At least 107 yards receiving by Jaden Ballard or Carnell Tate. My fourth one, let's just stick with Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate will score a touchdown.
Yeah, and I have to allow it because it's, it feels...
He's never done it.
That's true. He never has. Wait till I get to my 3-pointer. Carnell Tate catches a pass. It's going to be, Tony, not in the history of college football, but Saturday, baby, it's going to happen. Yeah. I have to allow that because it's one individual player and we don't know how much scoring there's going to be. I get the sense it's probably going to be a little on the lower scoring side, probably, but here's the other thing. We don't know exactly what the format's going to be. They may have, okay, and now we're going to run 3 straight possessions starting in the red zone, and then that skews the scoring completely. If it is, but we don't know what the format's going to be exactly, so it's got to, we're kind of...
I hope it's just all red zone.
That's really going to throw off some numbers here.
The last 3 years, so here's how it broke down in terms of rushing versus passing. In 2019, they threw the ball 64 times and ran at 47. 2021, they threw it 75 times, ran it 32. 2022, 67 passes, 51 rushes. So expect somewhere between, 60 and 70 passes and 35 and 50 runs. And it's always like going with a running back to do something is kind of dangerous. But then you look back a couple of years ago or last year, Mayan Williams went over 100 yards. Like you just never know if they're just going to, we wanted to work on the passing game. We wanted to get these tackles work, So, I have steered clear, maybe, of that. So your fifth 1-pointer, Tom.
All right. Kyle McCord completed 70% of his passes in the 2022 spring game. I'm going to say, Tony, he finishes under 60% of his passes completed this year.
This is so dumb that I don't think a quarterback is going to complete 60% of his passes. Why is that bold?
Because he did 70% last year. I think there's between some of the receivers who aren't going to be out there. I think because of some of the offensive line. I think because of the improved secondary. I think you're going to see a substantial step back. Even though he's another year older, he's gotten a ton more reps this spring. I feel like this is more just sort of a prediction of the overall tenor of the game, let's say, rather than quality of Kyle McCord play. I get the feeling this is going to be a lot less effective in the passing game during the course of the game. So I think you're going to see a substantial step back statistically for him. Is this insufficiently bold for you? Is that your objection?
Well, no, the thing is, it's like, I see him doing well, much better than 60%. And so now it's a number that, for instance, last year he played in, he threw the ball in 6 games and his lowest was, he was 2 for 3. So he was 66.7. As a true freshman, you go back, he had one game where he was 1 for 3. Are we going to hold him to that? Are we going to judge him based on that? No. But then against Michigan State in a 56-7 win. He was only 4 of 8, but when he actually plays, when he started against Akron, he completed 72.2. It's just, you expect a quarterback from Ohio State to do better than 60%. And when it's not bold, but it should be bold for Ohio State's starting quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. You expect an Ohio expect an Ohio State quarterback to complete 70%. That's just sort of the baseline right now. You go back through Justin Fields and CJ Stroud, and that's just sort of most games we're talking about them completing high 60s, low to mid 70s percentage, and sometimes it's 80%. Kyle McCord has, when he's had a lot of reps, mostly been in that 70-ish% range. So that's why, Tony, as a significant statistical outlier, below 60% would be pretty bold to predict someone who consistently does substantially better than that to not do that on Saturday.
It's not bold. So what I want is 2 percentage points. So he has to like worse than 58%.
Worse than 58%, but no rounding. If it's 57.9%, that wins. You said 2%. You did not say 2.3% or 2.5%. You said 2%.
Fine. I don't here, and this is so stupid and infuriating, Tom, that this is not bold at all, but your Ohio State quarterback should do better than that. But it's not bold, and everybody sees this, knows that completing less than 58% is not bold. So at least the people see this, and it is spring, and it's a time of rebirth. But again, here I am just allowing you to come up with stuff that, it's not bold, Tom. It's what it is it's different. And different does not mean bold, but we'll allow it because we're already on to 22 minutes of the show.
So just to be clear, picking something that happens all the time, would that be bold? No. So would the opposite of that then be bold? Feels like yes. Okay, great. We're all in agreement.
So no better than 57% passing for Kyle McCord. And I hope it's just jet sweep after jet sweep. Just here you go. Pad those stats. All right. So now my final one pointer might play right into your statistic, just your bold prediction right there. I think this has only happened once in the maybe history of the spring game, maybe just the last 3 or 4 years. At least 4 pass breakups by the cornerbacks specifically.
And how many?
Counting Jair Brown at cornerback. If he does it at nickel, we can,
Yeah, I think you're counting the guys who we are projecting at outside corner. So Cam Martinez does not count. Jair Brown, Ryan Turner would, because again, this is a let's be realistic about how much effort we're going to put into scoring this, and we're not going to do an exhaustive film review. We're going to look at the box score. No. So I will allow that. Now I'm going to need to know how many times have there been 4 pass breakups in the last?
Well, the corners really, now I think Denzel Burke and Jordan Hancock may have done it like 2 years ago. They each had 2.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, like the other 3 years, like there's one year where there are no corners, no scholarship corners. Another year where there's only 1. So I think it's been maybe like 6 in the last 3 years total cornerback pass breakups.
Okay, and I just pulled up one box score at random. The 2021 Ohio State spring game. Here are the 4 players who had pass breakups: Lathan Ransom, not a corner; Jacolby Cowan, not a corner; Noah Potter, not a corner; Rowan McCullough was a corner for basically one day. So yeah, I guess I'm going to have to allow that one as. And I think that's one that is probably reflective of what we've sort of seen this spring in terms of more aggressive corner, and how often are we hearing Jim Knowles talk about guys knocking down passes? So yeah, I think that is both a good one, but one that I'm going to have to allow. So now I have 3 of them here that we could do for multi-point potential things. I have a combination of 2 specific players to have at least 4 sacks. I have one specific player to have an interception, and we can maybe throw a caveat or some sort of restriction on where that has to happen on the field or whatever. And then I have one specific player having at least 3 impact plays, which we have to start, and not a defensive lineman, which we have discussed as tackles for loss, sacks, forced fumbles, recoveries, interceptions. So which of those would you like to have? Is there one of those that jumps out to you as this is the least likely to happen and therefore should be the 3-pointer?
Well, I have a player making at least 2 impact plays as a 2-pointer because I have one of those.
So when we have the same player and you have it for 2 points and I have 3 for 3 points, then that feels like that's probably fair and just, right? Are
we both saying CJ Hicks?
Oh, well, I was saying Sonny Styles. So CJ Hicks is a good answer.
So I go CJ Hicks, at least 2 impact plays
for 2 points, and I'll take Sonny Styles for 3 points. Yep. Okay.
All right.
This is way too friendly, and I think that's partly caused by the fact that we have not officially determined whether this show will determine the cot of shame for the Big Ten Media Days or not. So that's probably why we're being a little bit more, I don't know, friendly, permissive. I don't know, whatever word you want to go with there.
Amicable.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Not angst-ridden. There's some angst-ridden. Okay, so that we've got that. What's the 2-point situation for you? The 4 sacks?
I can either give you 2 different players who will have at least 4 sacks between them, or I can give you one specific guy to have an interception. If it's 2 points, I feel like maybe I can just pick the one guy to have an interception. Because
to be honest, one of my 1-pointers was CJ Hicks has an interception, but then I was like, that should be a 2-pointer.
That should be a 2-pointer. Yeah, one specific guy to have an interception feels like
we might just make that canon. Like that is now a rule.
Yeah, one specific guy to have an interception or a forced fumble or fumble recovery. That should just automatically be 2. Yeah,
plays part in a turnover.
Yeah.
Okay, is that what you're going to go with?
Well, I'm trying to decide now. I kind of want to have 2 2-pointers because I kind of like both of these for 2. Can you come up with another 2-pointer? Or is this
sure I can.
Can you come up with a legitimate 2-pointer? Sorry, I should have rephrased that.
That's not what you asked.
That is definitely not what I asked. And believe me,
I never promised legitimacy.
No one is more aware of the fact that that was what I asked than I am.
I could surely come up with another one.
Well, I'm going to give you both of my 2-pointers, and then you can take your time. So the first one, Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry combine for at least 4 sacks.
All right. And
second one, Cam Martinez with an interception.
That's honestly, he's played so well that should only be a 1-pointer. He's done so well this spring that should be a 1-pointer, but we've established that it is 2. I really like that one. And he's come through for me in the past, and I know he's gotten some hate from the fans based on a couple of games last year, but I really like that one. That's a good one. Darn. So now I need like 15 minutes to come up with a 2-pointer. Let's see.
Feels like we should put a commercial break in here while you think, but we'll see if we remember.
Cam Martinez. Here, let's see. What should I go with? How about can I choose? Is a 60-yard play worth 2 if I give you like 2 names?
If you give me 2 names, a 60-yard play is worth 2, yes. If you're just going to throw out there will be a 60-yard play, that would be 1. But yeah, if you're going to give me 2 names, I will definitely give you 2 points for that.
Okay. Let's go with the RST LNE Jaden Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
60 yards is a long way though. And you only got one score.
Sorry, you already said it. You already said it.
I have not said the second name.
Mm-hmm.
What if the second name is Jay? I don't
Demario McCall's not on the team anymore, so you can't pick him.
See, that's where I wanted to go. That's where. So let's see. I will say, and Jaden Ballard and. and there's no name popping up as I'm waiting for something to type it in for me.
Boy, I don't want to do your homework for you, but there was a wide receiver who's already lost his black stripe this spring who it doesn't feel like you're going to pop a 60-yard run, so it feels like you've got to be looking at a wide receiver, and how much is Marvin Harrison going to play? So,
but I already have Carnell Tate, and I don't want to load up in case he doesn't play. I've been burned on this before. Jaden Ballard, and I will have to say I wanted to go Noah Rogers, but I feel like if I go with a freshman, you should go with Carnell Tate. And what about a tight end there, Tom? Down the seam with the secondary in a shambles as we know it is.
Why don't you pick 2 tight ends?
All right, I will say Jaden Ballard, and I'm just gonna throw a dart and say Keon Grays. Deep shot.
That is a deep shot.
There. And now we are so your 3-point is done. Sonny Styles 3 impact plays made. This does not seem very bold. But we will allow it. My 3-pointer, Tom. Are you ready?
I can't wait.
Walk-on tight end Patrick Gerd will score a touchdown.
I almost suggested him on the last one, and then thought, no, I don't want that to be perceived as like I'm making fun of him. I don't know if people will connect that, hey, your name's Gerd and his name's Gerd. And I think that is very much in the spirit. And here's the fun thing. This is one of those things where you go back, was it 2 years, where on literally the last play of the game, Jagger LaRoe threw a touchdown to, I think, Sam Wiglusz. Like, this could be one where I'm winning the whole day, and then on the last play of the game, you basically hit a 3-pointer from the logo and and pull out the win. So yeah, I think that's going to keep people watching. I think that's going to keep us invested. So that is a tremendous pull there.
And you're friendly?
Kyle McCord leads the Ohio State offense to at least 6 first downs. Is that no? Sorry. That's too much. Kyle McCord leads the Ohio State offense to at least 3 first downs.
Okay. All right. I feel better about that.
Well, that's because the number's lower, and therefore it makes it more likely.
That's okay. That makes sense. And as I look at that now,
in case you're wondering, this
math.
Is weird. I feel better about that than I did before. I wonder why could that be?
See, I must know math.
Yeah. There you go.
Just intrinsically or subconsciously. My gift, my friendly to you, Tom. A tight end will have a target.
Now,
I didn't even go with catch.
Do you mean targeting or a tight end will have a target?
Too soon, Tom.
In the year of the tight end, I think that is the friendliest of friendly. So yes, I gratefully accept your gift. And that way, when I'm up by 3 and they haven't done it all game long, and then Patrick Gerd catches a touchdown on the last play of the game, you'll get 3. You'll be all excited, and you'll remember, oh, Tom got 1 for that one. And I pull it out by 1 point.
Unless Patrick Gerd is lined up at fullback for that play.
Again, this sounds like film study rather than.
I would do the film study for that one. Yes, I would go back and. So there you have it. Do you feel pretty good, Tom?
I feel pretty good. This is a wonderfully familiar and stupid feeling that I'm having right now. That we've spent 30 minutes of our lives, and our wonderful listeners have spent 30 minutes of their lives experiencing this, whatever it is, and it can only mean one thing, Tony. Football is back. Sort of.
Gotta love it. So that will do it for the Spring Game Bold Prediction Show. Feel free to let Tom know your own bold predictions on Twitter, email, voicemail. Voicemail would be fantastic. Just let them know how you feel. So thank you all for joining us. As always, find us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Become a member. Tell Tom about your bold predictions there, or find us at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. Go ahead and throw your comments in. Give us a like, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell to be notified when we go live and drop videos. Not like this one, but videos also other videos that we do. So I want to thank you all for joining us, and we will talk to you guys later.